Hey guys, Deathy here. Today I wanted to talk about a subject that I don't think has been covered in length, and that is meleeing in Deadlock. I think that this is essential for everybody to know, and a lot of people have told me, Melee Abrams is broken, how do I deal with this, what do I do, etc. So today I'm going to cover everything you need to know about melee and Deadlock in as short time as possible. Let's get started. First thing to know is that there's two types of melee attacks in Deadlock. There are light melees, which look like this, and there's heavy melees, which are charged like this. You can get usually about 2 light melees in the time that it takes you to charge 1 heavy melee. This means that light melee technically has higher DPS than heavy melee if you ignore all other factors. However, heavy melee does let you travel with it, and it does do more damage in one punch, meaning that people use this a lot more. However, both are used. The main advantage to light melee is that you pretty much can't react to it. It's very quick. It comes out instantly pretty much, and there's no chance that your opponent can do anything to react to it. However, you have to be right beside your opponent to use it, meaning that's the element of predictability. The main disadvantage of light melee is it doesn't do as much damage in one shot, and you don't travel with it at all. Heavy melee, on the other hand, has the biggest advantage of traveling and allowing you to turn corners with it. For example, let's say there's someone here that I want to hit, I can charge my heavy melee around the corner and strafe with it. The biggest disadvantage of heavy melee is the fact that it's extremely predictable. People have time to react to it, and they can parry you. Speaking of parrying, let's get into it. Parrying is where you'll press by default the F key on your keyboard. This allows you to counter any melee attack. If you successfully parry someone, it does not go on cooldown, meaning you can repeatedly parry people. If you hit a parry, the person will get stunned. It looks like this. While the person is stunned, they take bonus damage. Something that's important to know is that while the person is parried, you can actually get 2 heavy charged melees attack on them before they're actionable. This means that parrying is usually a guaranteed kill in the laning stage, as you can get 2 heavy charged melee attack on the opponent, which is usually somewhere around 300 damage with the damage amp from parry. However, if you miss parry, it's on cooldown for 5 seconds. Let's talk about something else, which is dashing versus parrying. When someone is charging a heavy melee attack at you, you have 2 options. You can try to dash away to avoid it, or you can parry it and counter. One thing that I want to make clear is that there is some sort of lag with dashes. I don't know exactly how it works, but as you can see, I'll try to dash this heavy melee. So as you can see, I dashed, and I felt like I had some distance on it, but you can never dodge it if you react at the last second with your dash. Sometimes you'll dodge it, but a lot of the times, the lag is going to be enough for them to hit you, as you can see. Meaning, if someone heavy melees you, you're always better off parrying than doing anything else, especially considering the fact that you can get 2 heavy melees on them afterwards. By the way, I'd highly recommend this area of the training range to anyone who wants to get better at parrying. This bot will repeatedly attack you with heavy melee attacks and allow you to practice your parries like this. What I'd recommend is to try to parry early and also parry as late as possible. I'd also recommend closing your eyes and just simply going off of sound like this. Oh, I missed it. I'd also recommend closing your eyes and trying to go off of sound, and it'll make you a little bit better at it. Now, I want to talk about the good stuff, the parrying and the mind games. So, once players get good at parrying and players still want to melee, it's important to know what the mind games are like.
I didn't even right now.
Chev going back yellow.
Yeah, I'm Sean.
What?
So with heavy melee being so actionable, meaning you can go a lot of places with it, people will try to bait out parries. So a couple ways to do that is you're going to be meleeing towards someone, and then you're going to turn around. You're going to be charge melee, and then you might cancel it with something. For example, maybe you do siphon life, and then they parry. This can be a little bit harder to react to. So if I do that again, let's say that I'm heavy meleeing, and then I get near them, and I siphon life, they parry, and then I can heavy melee them. Once they've parried, their parry's on cooldown for 5 seconds. So then it's free real estate. You can hit them with as many punches as you want. Usually, if you're the one parrying, it's best to keep your parry until the very last second that it hits you. Like this. The reason for that is they can't play mind games if you just wait until the hit is about to impact you to parry. If you parry too early, then they can just turn around like this, and then your parry's on cooldown, and they can just punch you over and over again. Another mind game I want to talk about is when you're close to them, and you want to light melee. So a lot of the time, you're going to be chasing someone. That person might be half health, and you're going to want to, sorry, not half health. That person might be really low, and you're just going to want to finish them off with a light melee like this. So usually, if they're really low, and you're chasing them and you want to just melee them, if you're very close, what they'll do is they'll parry, especially if they're in a situation where parrying is their only chance of escape. If you're winning the fight, don't go for melees. If the fight is already over, usually the only way that you can lose this engagement is by going for the melee and getting parried. Imagine this. You're 500 health, you're chasing an Infernus that's 100 health. You almost have him, so you decide to go in for the dash, and then you go for the punch. However, he parries you, double heavy melees you, and then flame dashes away. And now, he's healed, and you're dead. This is why you should only go for melees in situations where it's unexpected. If you're dashing into someone, a lot of the time, they're going to think you're going to melee, and so they might parry. So if your plan is to melee, you should dash into them, not melee, shoot them. Try to bait out their parry, because if you're using a light melee, they have to guess. They cannot react in time. I cannot emphasize this enough. So they will have to parry eventually if they want to survive. And once they've parried, then you can go for the melee. Right now, there's not really many other mind games other than that. It's all about baiting out the parry one way or another, whether it's with heavy melees and then turning, or getting really close to them but not meleeing and seeing whether they're parry or not. At a high level, meleeing is not all that good, although situationally it is very good. It's also very good to melee unsuspecting opponents because it does a lot of damage, especially around corners. One thing I'd recommend for you guys to try is to punch around corners. It's much harder to react to because they don't see you coming. The last but most important thing is practice. Don't be afraid to go out there and parry. Another thing I want to talk about is in the laning stage. What should you be doing with parry and how should you be practicing it? The meta right now is very much to secure as many last hits as you can with heavy melees. So if you see one of your creeps is hurt, dash in front of it and parry it if you see that the opponent is going for a melee on it. This can get you an early kill very easily, especially against unsuspecting opponents. Now you will die doing this because sometimes you'll dash, you'll parry, and there's not going to be anyone meleeing. And then you're going to take a bunch of damage and your parry is going to be on cooldown. But you need to try these things to get better. Don't be afraid of making mistakes with meleeing and parrying. It's a very punishing game if you make a mistake, but that's how you're going to learn. With that said, I wish you guys good luck in your games and have a good one.